Welcome, this is Najma Minhas. I'm actually traveling, but the shocking news of the death of Hassan Nasrallah made me feel I just wanted to do a quick vlog for you. This is alarming news. It's a massive news. Israel, of course, thinks this is a feather in its cap after the death of Fawaz Shukr, which it did on July the 30th, followed by Ismail Haniyeh's death in July, once again at the swearing-in ceremony of the Iranian president. Hassan Nasrallah himself had been leader of Hezbollah since 1992. He led Hezbollah for over 32 years and was said to be a charismatic leader, a skilled commander, and that master strategist, which was the reason why Hezbollah was able to attack and win, especially during the 2006 war that it had with Israel. So what does this mean for Israel? Will it achieve that quiet peace that it talks about? What does it mean for Iran? Iran has tried to stay out of this war directly with Israel, despite the missiles that we saw in April. The Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei did give out a series of tweets where he has promised to avenge the death of Hassan Nasrallah. But what happens in the Middle East really will now depend on what Iran decides to do. And it's clear Iran has to create some kind of deterrence value for itself, as well as the parties that it supports, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's Houthis, or even Hamas. But whether it wants to come into a direct frontal war with Israel is another question, and especially since that involves bringing the United States into the theater as well. Now, a peep has come out of the Sunni Arab countries. I have done a vlog earlier, I'll put it in the link as well, about why they feel threatened by Iran, and therefore, by default, the Shia groups in the region, whether it's the Houthis, whether it's Hezbollah and Hamas for that matter. But you have seen Israelis share the scenes of joy apparently that have happened across some parts of the Arab world, including Lebanon itself. But I mean, these were to be expected. We know that Lebanon was a fractured society. There are elements of Christians who are the Maronites in Lebanon. They might be happy, but this matters very little in the big scale of things. Israel, that's been run by Netanyahu, who faces a series of corruption cases against him and is therefore reluctant to leave power, along with all the right-wingers, are unlikely to take this as their win, as they were told by Biden to do so in April. Unfortunately, President Biden has put out a statement saying he approves and Israel has the full support of the Biden administration for what it's just currently done in Lebanon as well. Unfortunately, with Biden's support, as he's expressed, I will put up a statement that he said, Israel will use this as an opportunity to do what it calls mowing the grass in terms of the Lebanese institution of Hezbollah. Taking in a ground invasion is expected any day now. IDF is said to be preparing for this. Initially, it started by saying that the reason why it was attacking Lebanon was so that 60,000 people who are based in northern Israel could go back to their homes. But very rapidly, we've seen they're expanding this theater of war, and they're not even reluctant to do so. What's very unfortunate is the recent tweet by Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of the former President Donald Trump, who has said that what happened on September 24th is a huge event and the best thing that happened since the breakthrough of the Abrahamic Accords. He says that Israel should continue and certainly does not call for a ceasefire. He thinks calls for a ceasefire are wrong. Israel should continue. It should wipe out the leadership and do what is necessary to win this particular war. His tweet is actually worth reading in full. I will put up a link on my video, but I would suggest that you go and read it in full. In terms of what the Republican thinking is if former President Donald Trump comes on board as President of the United States in the upcoming elections. It gives also thought for those Muslims who are now saying they do not want to vote for the Democrats because of the Democrats' policy on Israel, Palestine. What Kushner is suggesting that the Republicans are going to be even worse. So something for the Democrats to be thinking about in terms of the United States. Positively, however, we've seen the United Kingdom ask for calm in the region. They've said they support an immediate ceasefire and that David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, has spoken to the Prime Minister of Lebanon, reiterating this call as well. Netanyahu, as I mentioned, has his own personal interest, but along with him, these Israeli right-wingers who now see this mowing down of Lebanon as a way to get the plan of a greater Israel in place. They're sharing lots of ideas on social media, trying to garner up support for this particular plan. It's interesting, and I'll just read it out to you. Theodore Herzl, who was the founding father of Zionism, at that time mentioned that there should be a Jewish state stretching from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates. Well, that's not going to happen in our lifetimes, but it does not stop mad people from dreaming that they can actually achieve such ideas. Fortunately, this strategy of mowing the grass or killing the top leadership, in this case Hezbollah, has never proven to be a successful strategy for Israel, and is unlikely to be so even now. It certainly won't give it any long-term strategic advantage. Every time more radical leadership comes out, which realizes that actually you cannot cooperate with Israel. Israel will not engage in any kind of rules of understanding, and therefore they should actually just stand for their objectives, which in this case Hezbollah has clearly said it will not do a ceasefire until there's ceasefire on peace in Gaza. So unlikely to achieve any particular objectives. What it's also trying to do at the same time is to bring in bring in Iran, however it can do so, and therefore bringing the United States in any way, willy-nilly that it can, to try and bring the United States and Iran to war in essence, and to take out its biggest, what Israel perceives as its biggest threat in the region. Hezbollah do now in response. Of course, communication is a huge problem for the group right now. Its leadership is in different places. They can't communicate as easily as they would have done so in the past. However, they realize that they are under threat. They need to restore their credibility, their deterrence value as well. So they do need to do something. The potential leader right now, which has not been confirmed by Hezbollah, is being touted as Hashim Safieddine, who is the maternal cousin of Hassan Nasrallah. His son is married to the daughter of Qasem Soleimani, the Quds commander who was killed by former President Trump in 2020. He seemed to have values and a thought process which is very similar to Hassan Nasrallah himself as well. Is how rational will Hezbollah and Iran be? Israel's obviously igniting a regional war that it wants Iran to come into. Will Iran be able to stay out of this war? Will it be able to sell to its people that it's doing something that is rational and longer term? Or do the people think that each time one of these leaders that is killed, whether it's on Iranian soil, whether it's in Lebanon, whether it's in Palestine or anywhere else, is this actually hurting Iran's reputation as a leader on the Arab street? Or is it able to sell this idea that if it stays rational, it's not doing what Israel actually wants it to do? And will people be able to understand this? In terms of Biden's policy, it's been an absolute failure of a president. He's had two major wars during his tenure. Thousands have died, hundreds of thousands have died, whether it's in Ukraine, whether it's in the Middle East now. And when it comes to Jake Sullivan, those words that he spoke, that the Middle East has been never quieter than it is right now, never have words been more misspoke at a point in time as those particular words. Some of the few quick thoughts I wanted to just share with you. I hope you will like the content on this channel, and if you do enjoy it, please do subscribe and share with others around you as well. Thank you very much for giving me your time and listening to me today.